One cloudy morning, Sir Topham Hatt brought all of the engines on Thomas's branch line to a meeting at Elsbridge Station. "It has come to my attention," he said, "that the recent rainfall has damaged parts of the line. Pools and puddles of water are forming, and erosion is wearing away at the track's foundations. I'm afraid the safety concerns of this matter are too great to ignore. I regret to inform you that we will have to temporarily close down this branch line until the damage can be fixed." "Close the line?" said Thomas. "But what about our passengers?" "I'm afraid they will have to find other means of transportation for the time being," replied the Fat Controller. "It is too dangerous to use this line for rail transport under the given conditions." "And what about us?" asked Percy. "What will we engines do?" "I've contacted the Sodor Railway repair," said Sir Topham Hatt. "They're sending an engine to mend the line, but they have requested that one of you assist them as well. As Toby is the lightest of you four, it is least dangerous for him to go out on the line. In the meantime, Percy, I would like you to help out at the harbor on Doc's branch line. And Thomas and Daisy, I will be finding other passenger work for you to do." "Yes, sir," said the engines. "Right," said Sir Topham Hatt. "That is all. Off you go." And he stood back as the engines chuffed away. The next day, Toby arrived at the yards to find a very strange-looking engine waiting for him. "Hello," said the engine. "You must be Toby." Yes," said Toby. "Who are you?" "Sebastian's the name," said the engine, "and railway repair is the game." Sebastian laughed. "Probably never seen an engine like me before, have you? That's it, isn't it?" Toby smiled. "Oh no, it's nothing like that," he said. "I've seen plenty of unusual engines in my lifetime. I've been called a bit of an unusual engine myself a number of times. I'm a steam tram, you know." "Ah, yes, indeed," said Sebastian. "Rather like that Flora lass, I suppose. I met her once at the steamworks. But enough chit-chat. We've got work to do. These lines need to be repaired." "Right," said Toby. "What do you need me to do?" "Well, I'll tell you," said Sebastian. "I'm designed for laying ballast underneath the tracks. Here we're going to do that in the places where the soil's been washed away by the rain. I'm going to need you to make runs to Arlesdale to fetch more." "Can do," said Toby. "I'll go fetch some trucks right now." And he trundled away. Then Sebastian set off down the branch line to begin work. Toby kept busy for the rest of the day, pulling ballast from Arlesdale to wherever Sebastian needed it. Meanwhile, Sebastian and the workmen worked hard all day, laying ballast beneath the rails where the soil had been washed away. Meanwhile, the other branch line engines found they were keeping plenty busy as well. A few days passed. At the end of the week, Thomas met up with Toby at Tidmouth Station. The little tram engine looked sad. "What's the matter, Toby?" asked Thomas. "You look glum." "Oh," said Toby, "just feeling a little lonely. I've been working with these ballast trucks all week, and I haven't had the chance to take Henrietta out for a run. Don't get me wrong, Sebastian is good company, but I only see him at the end of each run, and I do miss my dear old faithful coach." "You're lucky, Thomas," he continued. "You still get to pull Annie and Clarabelle." Said Thomas. "I'll tell you what. I don't have another train until this evening. Why don't you take my passengers with Henrietta and another coach, and I'll finish up your ballast runs for the day." "Oh," said Toby. "Thank you, Thomas. That's very kind, but, But what?" "It's just, well, it's like the Fat Controller said. You're heavier than I am, and it might be dangerous for you to use the line." "Don't you worry about me," said Thomas. "I know my branch line better than anyone. I can take care of myself." "Well," said Toby, "all right, if you say so. But be careful. Don't worry, Toby, said Thomas. I will be. Toby was soon uncoupled from the cars, and Thomas backed down on the train. Peep, peep, whistled Thomas. Goodbye, Toby, he said. Enjoy your evening with Henrietta. And he chuffed away. Goodbye, Thomas, said Toby. Take care. It wasn't long before Thomas found himself chuffing into the yards at Elsbridge. Thomas uncoupled Clarabelle from the line of cars, then chuffed onto the other line. He pushed his coaches down a siding and into the coach shed. Henrietta was surprised to see Thomas back in the yard. "What are you doing here?" she asked. Thomas explained the arrangements he'd made with Toby. "Oh, that's wonderful," said Henrietta. "I've been missing Toby as well. Do take care out on the line, Thomas." "I know," said Thomas. "I will." And he uncoupled from Annie and chuffed off. A moment later, Thomas backed down on his line of trucks, then chuffed away to bring them to Sebastian. Eventually, Thomas came to a hill on his branch line. It was mostly rocky, but there was some soil on it. Unfortunately, the rainfall had made the soil underneath the track loose and wet. As Thomas crested the hill, the soil and the track gave way underneath his weight. Thomas slid down the embankment, bringing his train of ballast trucks after him, and he landed with a splash in a muddy pool that had formed at the bottom of the hill. "Puh!" said Thomas, spitting the murky water out of his mouth. "Botherations! Someone get me out of here!" His driver waded out of the puddle and climbed back up the hill. Then he ran away down the line in search of help, while the firemen unsuccessfully tried to restart Thomas's fire, which had been sloshed out by the water. Sebastian was further down the line, working on the track outside of Marin Station, when he spotted Thomas's driver running towards them, soaked from the knees down. "Thomas has come off the rails with Toby's trucks," he said breathlessly. "He slid down the embankment and is stuck in a pool. Can you help us?" "I'm sorry," said Sebastian. "I wasn't built to pull that much weight." "I'll telephone the yard," offered one of the workmen. And he ran to the station house. Meanwhile, Toby had just arrived at the coach shed to collect Henrietta. He was making ready to leave when he saw the station master coming towards him. "Thomas has come off the line and slid down a hill," said the station master. "Can you help him out?" "Oh dear," said Toby. "Thomas's passengers won't like to be kept waiting." "I'll telephone the bus service," said the station master. "We can have Bertie or Baron take the passengers." "Sorry, Henrietta," apologized Toby. "Looks like I won't be taking you out for a run today after all." "Don't worry about it," said Henrietta. "Go help Thomas." So Toby uncoupled from his coach and chuffed off to find Thomas. Soon, Toby arrived on the scene of the accident and buffered up to the caboose. "Toby," said Thomas, "thank goodness you're here. Can you get me back on dry rails?" "I'll try," said Toby. But try as he might, Toby's wheels just spun and spun. At last, Toby gave up. "I'm sorry, Thomas," he panted. "I'm simply not strong enough to pull you all up this hill." Said Thomas. "Well, you'll have to send for another engine to help you, I suppose." So Toby uncoupled from the caboose and went off to find another engine. Duck and Percy were resting at the seaside station in Knapford Harbor when Toby chuffed in. "There's been an accident," said Toby. "I'm not strong enough to rescue Thomas on my own. I need help." "I'll do it," whistled Duck proudly. He was one of the most powerful tank engines on the railway. "Sorry, Duck," said Toby, "but you're too heavy. You could make the rails dislodge just like Thomas did." "So let me guess," said Percy. "You want me to help Thomas?" "Yes," said Toby. "You're the only other engine who's light enough to travel safely on the rails while also being strong enough to help me rescue Thomas. Except for maybe Neil, but he's being repaired at the steamworks." "How can you seriously expect me to help Thomas?" said Percy. "You're not really still holding a grudge against him, are you?" asked Toby. "After all this time? Percy, you've got to think about what's at stake here. Thomas needs our help, and if you're not going to do it for him, then do it for me." sighed Percy. All right, fine. Lead the way. Toby trundled away. Percy chuffed after him, leaving Duck speechless. Once Toby had turned around, he and Percy chuffed back to the hill. And together, they buffered up to the caboose. Ah, Toby, you're back, said Thomas. And, wait, is that Percy with you? Yeah, said Percy. Come on, let's get this over with. The two engines heaved with all their might. Slowly but surely, they began to pull Thomas's train back onto the tracks. Come on, puffed Percy. We can do it, chuffed Toby. At last, Toby and Percy pulled Thomas back onto the line. The engine stopped, completely out of breath. Thomas breathed a sigh of relief. Thank you both, he said. I'm so glad to be back on dry rails. Yeah, don't mention it, said Percy. Thomas tried to move, but the dirty water had clogged his pistons. So Toby and Percy helped Thomas back to the yard. A short while later, Sebastian hurried into Elsbridge Yard to find Percy, Toby, and the Fat Controller waiting for him. James and Thomas were at the other end of the platform. They had been unable to clean Thomas's pistons in the yard, so James was getting ready to take him to the steamworks. Thomas, said Sebastian. Oh, thank goodness you're all right. He'll be better once he gets that mucky water out of his system, said Toby. Yes, indeed, said Sir Topham Hatt. As I was saying, Sebastian, as you can imagine, I'm very proud of Toby and Percy. They got Thomas out of a rather nasty mess, and they are both really useful engines. Oh, I agree wholeheartedly, said Sebastian. You, sir, are lucky to have such engines on your railway. Yes, indeed, said Sir Topham Hatt. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have other matters to attend to. Good day to you all. And with that, Sir Topham Hatt departed. Well, said Sebastian, I must say that Thomas as well is very lucky to have such good friends to count on. Yeah, said Percy. You can always count on good friends. Before Sebastian could reply, Percy puffed away. Huh, said Sebastian. Now who's poured water down his funnel? Toby paused. Earlier in the summer, Thomas and Percy had had a falling out, and Toby was one of the only engines to whom they had given details. Well, he said at last, it's a little bit of a long story, but, in short, Percy's holding a grudge against Thomas for something that Thomas did, and that thing that Thomas did has kind of left Percy a little confused about life, about his emotions, about everything. Percy's upset because they used to be best friends, and now he's not really sure who he can trust anymore. It's a little bit like he's lost at the moment, and he can't really see where he's going. The path is foggy and unclear. He doesn't know which way is down and which way is up, so he's just thrashing about, trying not to drown. And as you can see, it's taking his toll on him, on everyone. Said Sebastian. It seems to me like it's a personal matter, so I won't press you for any details, but I will give you this advice. As a friend to both Thomas and Percy, your role is going to become more important than ever. You need to find a way to help them put aside whatever differences they have, and maybe, just maybe, you can restore their friendship to like it was before. Well, said Toby, I certainly hope I can. Sebastian smiled. You're a good engine, Toby, he said, and I know you're going to see this through to the end. For their sake, I pray that I will.